Having a website is one part of your business. Of course it is, but the problem is, do you really get value for the website you put out there? Is your content actually engaging? So how does your website really add value to your business? And we have someone with us backed by popular demand, someone we already had on the podcast earlier this year. So hello and welcome, Chris Davidson.
Hello, Niels. Thank you for having me back. It's a great pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much for taking the time. We received very positive feedback and a lot of questions, as you know, from your last podcast, and something which just fit in perfectly. So thank you very much for being available immediately when I asked you to come back. You now started something which is called Website Value Scan. So it sounds like you're an engineer, which is, of course, something I like, especially as a German. So Website Value Scan, what does it mean? Is it possible to just scan my website and tell me what it's worth or how it works for my business? What is the plan behind Website Value Scan?
Okay, well, let's illustrate that immediately by jumping away from the web, if I may, Niels, and let's go to a bricks and mortar analogy. Mm-hmm. Let's imagine that you are now responsible for maximizing the revenue in a supermarket.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at the information that you have available to you. You know where the entrance is, mm-hmm. and you know where the exit is.
Okay.
And you know the distribution of products across the shelves in the supermarket.
Yeah.
And you know from the cash registers how many products are sold. Mm-hmm. And you also know from the date and time stamp of sale the rate at which products are sold.
Yes.
And for individual sales sold by credit card or bank card, and a lot of them are nowadays, you will know who has bought what. Mm-hmm. Now, pre-COVID days, there is another piece of information that you would like to have that basically supermarkets did not collect. And that was the number of people in the shop. Mm-hmm. They didn't actually know that. Of course, they have to know that now in where they are now. They have security people outside the door, so many people exit, so many people allowed in. So they have a pretty good estimate of how many people are in the shop nowadays. Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Now, what's the other critical piece of information that you would absolutely love to know and you don't have it if your job was to maximize the revenue from all of those customers who are in the shop at that particular point of time? Let's think about it. We know where they come in. We know where mm-hmm. they go out. We know what they buy. We know the rate at which they buy it and all that kind of stuff. But what we don't know is how they move through the supermarket.
That's true.
When somebody arrives at bakery, for the sake of argument, mm-hmm. we don't know where they go afterwards. Do they go to fresh meat? Do they go to the fish counter? Do they go to groceries? Do they go to vegetables? We haven't got a clue.
Yeah.
Before arriving at bakery, where were they immediately before arriving at bakery? Were they at dairy? Were they at cooked meats? Nobody knows. Mm-hmm. So what does Website Value Scan do? Website Value Scan tells you about how people move through your website. It's all about the journey through the website. Think of journey analytics is what Website Value Scan is all about. Mm-hmm. So this is the clear differentiation between Google Analytics and the approach taken by Website Value Scan.
That would be my question. Could you just dig a bit deeper on that? Because my question would be, because I know Google Analytics offers a lot, and that's quite frankly what I know about Google Analytics. There is a lot, and I assume that because the name Google is on it.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I get it. So people say, well, can't I just get all this from Google Analytics? No, you can't, is the answer. And you're quite right. People say, well, we know Google Analytics is big, so therefore it must be able to do everything. And we know it's got the Google name on it, so therefore it must be good and it must be able to do everything. Not so. Google Analytics tells you about web pages, and it tells you about actions on pages.
Yeah.
What I'm interested in is actions between pages. Mm. So if you had Google Analytics, for the sake of argument, if you had, this is something else your listeners might be able to equate with this. If you imagine sort of applying Google Analytics to a PowerPoint file, Google Analytics would tell you about each of the slides, and it would tell you about the animations on the slides. What I'm interested in is collecting all the slides together and putting them in the right order.
Yeah, true.
Right? You got me? So it's a Google Analytics can look at a piano keyboard and it can tell you for each of the notes on a piano keyboard, how many times it has been hit, when it's been hit, if it's hit hard or if it's hit soft, at what rate it's been hit and all the rest of it. But it can't tell you the piece of music that's being played. Right?
That's a good analogy, yeah.
Right. So website value scan is about the piece of music that each individual visitor is playing as he or she enters your site, wanders around the pages, and then exits. So you might have the view, I think I've got an About Us page, I've got an About You page, I've got product pages, and then I've got a page for each individual product, and then I've linked from the individual product page to the shopping cart, and da-di-da-di-da. And you've got this architecture set up, and you've got this way in which you envisage your website is going to be used. But you don't actually know what's going on. You don't know if somebody comes in, reads a little bit of the About Us page, then jumps over to a blog post that they're excited about, goes from a blog post to a product page, and then leaves without buying anything. Now,
many people care about. Many people say what I'm interested in is getting a lot of traffic and then having a lot of conversions. That's what a classical entrepreneur would say. I want to get many people on my website, and then they should buy stuff. That's what I care about.
Well, that is absolutely true. And this is where there is a little bit of a dichotomy in a way for people like you and me, for people who are consultants, trainers, speakers, authors, the sort of people who put themselves out there and want to live off their expertise. Google has a very clear message for people like you, people like me. We say, look, we're going to be interested in you based on our new way of looking at things, which is a Google EAT, expertise, authority, and trust. So that's saying, all right, so whereabouts on Niels' website, whereabouts on Chris's website, can I see Chris's expertise? How does Chris demonstrate his expertise? Where is it? What does it look as if he has a lot of expertise here? Okay, it looks like he's got a lot of expertise. All right. So his authority, where does Chris's authority come from? What training has he got? He's got an engineering degree. Okay, fair enough. Oh, he worked for IBM. Yeah, okay, right. Yeah, they're not too bad. And, so this is what Google are looking for. And they say, well, is Chris a trusted guy? Oh, yes, he's got some good social proof here. So expertise, authority, and trust is really, really important for Google when they're looking at people like you, people like me. And so we tend to build websites that demonstrate our expertise, authority, and trust. Well, that's good, but that doesn't really come it's not really particularly useful when it comes to flogging stuff. When you want to make a sale, you need to move from expertise, authority, and trust into, oh, wow, this is interesting. Okay. Now I can see how this is going to be useful to me. Okay. So, yep. And then you're moving somebody through the purchase route. So there is this great dichotomy, which a lot of our friends and colleagues out there haven't got to grips with yet. And I know that because I'm analyzing all their websites, as you know, thousands of them a year.
You have you published the big report in our industry.
Yeah, the digital footprint survey.
Exactly.
That we are crunching the numbers for the digital footprint survey. Next year's report, we're doing the number crunching right now. My colleague's doing that. We're doing thousands of sites, and that'll be out early next year. But what's happening, you can see this dichotomy where people are kind of getting to grips with the expertise, authority, and trust message. But what the industry is kind of failing to do is then moving people from expertise, authority, and trust sites into a a purchase environment where really all the friction associated with making the purchase is removed. And so people naturally go from expertise, authority, and trust, having a look around. Okay, I really trust this person. Then you need to move them into the, okay, now we're going to buy this product. Mm-hmm. That's still something that a lot of website owners are struggling with. And I think they're going to struggle for a while. And I think next year, given where we are, this is now the end of 2020, next year, I think is going to be quite difficult for people. They're going to have to make that change really as quickly as they possibly can if they actually definitively want to sell product on stage. And given the circumstances in which we find ourselves, who would not want to do that anyway?
Yeah,
that's kind of the view. Yeah.
Excellent.
So website value scan, just in summary then, website value scan ends up with an image. It's a very visual delivery. It's not a long, complex report with lots of spreadsheets you have to cross-reference and any of that kind of stuff. It's an image on the screen, a live dynamic image of all the pages on your website, and you can see all the traffic flows between the pages. And you can see
that is the flow diagram which you which you showed me earlier, where you could see many arrows or less arrows going this or that way.
Absolutely, that's it. Beautiful.
Very visual. That is very nice, because it immediately showed me where on my website do people go, and where sometimes there were areas where I thought, oh, this is really popular. And it turns out it's not. Actually, hardly anyone goes there unless they knew it's there. So
Exactly. So the insight you get is, oh my goodness, there's a lot of traffic to this page, but I don't have a call to action on that page.
Yeah.
Oh, heck. Let me put a call to action on that page quickly, and let me see if I can capture that traffic and do something useful with it and push it somewhere else where it's going to be both useful to me and useful to the website visitors.
Brilliant. Yeah. And of course, now, that this question is coming, but it also fits well to what I would like to talk about right now. Of course, when I have people on my website, I want them to engage with the content. And you now have website content engager, which sounds like it could help with exactly that. The question now is, what is the magic key? Because let's face it, I have seen 1 billion different versions of people spamming my inbox to say, let's get the free ebook, get this, get that. So they just basically try to put me into their funnel if I want it or not. And of course, with them, I don't engage that much. So what is the secret sauce you have? So first, what is website content engager, and what is the secret sauce you have here?
Yeah. Okay. So 2 really good questions. What is it, and what's the secret sauce? So let's go back to the secret sauce. Expertise, authority, and trust is where it all begins.
Yeah.
And so if somebody arrives on your site and you immediately put a pop-up straight there where they've been on your site 5 seconds, and here's a pop-up that says, hey, get a free report on whatever marketplace, give us your name and email address, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that is exactly what I'm referring to. But that is what I see especially in my industry, and even other. This is what 90% of the websites do.
Yes, and they do it because it's traditional to do it. If you can have the word tradition in such a young industry as IT, But you know what I'm saying? It's kind of they do it because everybody else does it. They do it because it's sort of traditional. They do it because they've been told they've got to have a book, so they write a book, and then they take the first chapter of the book, and then they use the first chapter of the book as a giveaway, and nobody cares.
Exactly.
Right? And why does nobody care?
Nobody cares is exactly the right reaction.
Why does nobody care? Nobody cares for the following reasons, because there's been a divergence in view. If one goes back not too far, not too long ago, yes, you would give your name and email address in exchange for a PDF report, because when producing PDFs was difficult, people would put some really hard-won effort into producing a PDF, and you get a good document. But the moment that Microsoft announced in Word you could do file save as PDF, the quality of PDFs dropped through the floor. We all know that. It's just a fact.
I mean, I had so-called free ebooks, which were basically 2 pages of bullet points with some rough ideas called an ebook. That's an insult to the term book.
Now, not that is correct, but more than that, what has been happening? We've had this reduction in quality is one issue, but the industry, the sector, has moved away from the point at which generic material, even if it were extremely well produced and well written generic material en général is no longer enough to persuade somebody to surrender their name and email address. We are living in a world now of mass customization and instant gratification.
Absolutely.
BMW, your home car maker, as it were, and Citroën also.
I am Northern German, not Southern German, but that's okay. I normally really wouldn't insist, but when it comes to Northern German and you name a Bavarian car brand,
Bavarian motorbikes, yeah, okay. So BMW and Citroën with the new Mini and the little DS3, the Citroën, those cars are all almost infinitely customizable at order, and yet they run the same production line, but they're building different cars all the way down the production line. One Mini is red with a gray roof, another one's black, another one has leather seats, the other one has fabric seats, one has go faster stripes, the other one doesn't. Each car is customized to the precise order of the person who ordered it. Now, that's a far cry from Henry Ford, you can have any color you like as long as it's black. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, look at how manufacturing has changed. No, so if car manufacturers can promise that to individuals, that we can have cars individually built the way we want them, then the expectation is that people like you and me who are dealing with consulting and intellectual properties in general, this should be easy for us. This should be easy for us because we're not actually manufacturing physical goods. So here is the point. Going back to expertise, authority, and trust. If somebody comes on my website, I demonstrate my expertise and I want to build some trust with them and I want to show my authority. And if I manage to do that well, then maybe they'll give me their name and email address. So what Website Content Engager does is says the following, right, let's have somebody on your website, any visitor, and let's make them an offer. And the offer is, would you like a free report, no sign up necessary? This is the important point. You must make that point clear. No sign up necessary, a customized free report about, and then it has to be something that you talk about. So if I'm a financial...
No sign up necessary.
No sign up necessary. If I'm talking...
Every single internet marketer will tell you, but you need them to sign up because you want to have their email address.
Okay, so there's 2 points there. The last point you made was you need to have their email address is correct. But the point is you're not going to get that email address until you have demonstrated your expertise and built trust with the visitor.
That is true. Yeah. Right? That's why I don't get, when anyone says, here's a free report, put in your email address, my first reaction is, you're not going to get my email address.
Exactly. Yeah. So you come to a website and you are presented with an offer that no sign up is necessary. Would you like a free report on, and then it has to obviously be the subject of that the website is dealing with. But the point is that not only is it just a free report, it's a free report that is going to be personalized to that person's particular requirements. So rather than just saying, for the sake of argument, oh, well, we're coming up to Christmas and the New Year, aren't we? So the gyms are going to open, we hope, COVID allowing, the gyms are going to open in January, and everybody's going to go rushing to the gym, and we're all going to lose weight and lose the pounds and kilos we took on over the break. Okay, so rather than going onto a website and saying, give me your name and email address, and I will send you my PDF on the top 10 ways to lose your Christmas kilos, right? Even if my top 10 tips for losing Christmas kilos were really good, it's generic. But if you come on my website and I say, okay, would you like, no sign up necessary, the top 10 ways in which you could shed the pounds depending on your lifestyle and if you want that, click here, let's go. And somebody says, well, hang on a minute, no sign up necessary. They're going to give me the top 12 tips on this or the top 5 tips on the other or something like that. I've got nothing to risk other than my time. I'm not handing over anything. I'll give it a go. So they click on the button and they're then taken into a survey. And the survey is website content engager. This is the product they're in now. So they're taken into an environment, a survey environment, where they are asked questions. The answers to those questions fall into calculations. And after a period of time, a number of questions, we obviously we have to work with the subject matter expert here, but you want to keep it as minimal as you possibly can. You get to a point where you show somebody, you put an answer on the screen and you say, okay, so based on your height and weight and, your lifestyle and what have you, these are the top things that we think you ought to do to shed the pounds. And then you give the calculation, you give the report, and then this is perhaps not a very good example. I'm going to overextend myself here, but just for the pure sake of the example, we could say that. And if you do these top things, here's an estimate of the pounds we think that you could lose by doing this, and this. So in other words, we're giving it's quite an in-depth piece of work. That's the point I'm making, right? And it's an in-depth piece of work, and it's personalized, right? It's personalized. So then you say,
one size fits all.
It's not one size fits all. And at that stage, I've demonstrated my expertise because I've told you all about, weight loss, and that's my subject matter for the sake of this example. And I've personalized it to you. And then I say, by the way, those dozen questions that you answered, Niels, we have an in-depth report on this, 12 pages, a 12-page PDF, including maps and graphs and recipes and all this kind of stuff to take your weight loss further. Would you like a copy of that report?
Yeah.
Okay, give me your name and email address then.
Okay, yeah.
And here's the point.
So that's the secret.
When that person, and here's the really nice point, Niels. When that person puts in their name and email address, the PDF report they get is not generic. The PDF report they get is specific to them. Because the PDF report is built dynamically based on the answers to the questions. So it really is a pretty cool piece of software.
Yeah, so that's the secret sauce.
That's the secret sauce, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember often when people say top 10 leadership tips, and of course I look at the market, people give out top 10 leadership tips and they say it's not relevant if you're a bakery or an investment banker. And of course it's relevant, but they have a report in exchange for the emailers, which is zero tailored because they just want to get their stuff out there.
Well, exactly. So it's a little bit like, when I listen to business programs on the radio, and it always, it just kind of irritates me a little bit when they, Richard Branson for a name, but one of these top people, big companies. Yeah. Richard Branson, whoever,
2021,
whoever, and they're going to come on the radio and they're going to talk about running a business and all the rest of it. And what is the point of me listening to that program? With no disrespect to Richard Branson or any of these other people, I'm just not in the same league as they are. They are miles away from my problems and what it is that I am struggling with and what it is that I am trying to get done.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that I don't admire them or anything like that, but I need to have information and approaches and techniques and stuff that I can use tomorrow for me and my team, because I don't have goodness knows how many people and thousands and all this. I've got a team of 8, 9 people, and we work hard, and that's what we do. But help me with where I am now, not where you think I ought to be in 10 years' time.
Yeah, excellent. So when people think about working with you, what is it that they have to bring to the table? Because I think there's a certain responsibility, not only to say that there's a certain accountability for the people who want to work with you as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing they got to do is they got to turn up, and they got to they got to turn up ready to rock, and they got to turn up with their subject matter expertise. Now, I know, because we've implemented a few of these website content engagers and also other allied products where, to be frank, we really do dig deep into clients' businesses, really, really deep in terms of extracting the nectar to produce the best possible material for the website. And it's hard work. It's really hard work. We had a client this year. We put his website is live now. It went live a few months ago. And he's very, very happy with it. But he said to me, earlier on, he said, Chris, I consider myself to be really well organized, which he is. He said, but this is really hard work. And I said, yeah, I know it's hard work, but you can see the benefit. He says, yeah, I can, but I've just never thought of this depth before. Yes.
Of course, he's organized, must be German, right? Sorry, I had to. I just had to. After
but he might
Southern car brand. I had to throw that in. Sorry.
Yeah. But I think he's lived in Germany for 7, 8 years now. But I think he's from Austria. I think.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So it
is hard work.
He's another Southerner.
Yeah, absolutely. So just to make that clear, this is for people who are really subject matter experts, not for people who have 5.5 motivational phrases as their so-called content.
Yeah, you need to have good subject matter expertise because you need to be able to clearly demonstrate that expertise to people who come to your website.
Okay.
And you demonstrate that expertise by being able to ask deep and articulate questions, and also know what you can do with the answers. Because if say for example we were going to say, well, look, would you like a free audit, no sign up necessary, on your health and safety policy? You think, yeah, fine, okay, I'll do that. And you might ask, so to what extent do you think your organization has a fully documented health and safety policy? Choose between 1 and 5, on a sliding scale, that kind of thing. And you take them through all of these questions. The point is, you have to know what to say in response to each answer, because you've got to write all of that up, because every single one of those could be called on in order to produce the PDF. So you're creating a multi-page document. You're writing a lot of material. Now, we can help with all the copywriting, and we build all the surveys, and we do all the calculations, we do all that stuff. Okay. But the subject matter expertise has to come out of somebody's head. And they've really got to know what it is they do inside out. Yeah.
So it is a product for proper expert.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Absolutely.
So to round the whole interview up, so some people might listen right now and think, I know exactly that problem. I have a website, but it doesn't really help me. It's just out there, and because it's somehow expected to be out there, but it doesn't really work. So when people are now sitting there and think, what are the things I should do in 2021 to be more successful? What are Chris Davidson top 3 tips to do right now to have a more engaging and a better website?
Yeah. So if you are in the environment that I'm in, that you're in, if you're a consultant type person, author, trainer, speaker, etc., then it's all about expertise, authority, and trust, and that's all about having expertise, authority, and trust to start producing lots of really good content for your target area. Mm-hmm. If you're not already doing it. So most websites won't be attracting enough traffic. So that's one issue. Those that attract traffic don't convert enough of it. That's the second issue. Those that do convert enough of it then don't go on to sell enough to the converted people, to the leads, and they're not selling enough because they don't have clearly defined products and a clearly defined product sale funnel. So those are the 3 issues: getting people into the front door with your expertise, authority, and trust, getting them to sign up, and then taking them on a journey which leads them to a specific product, not just a product area, not an offering area, not a we do workshops on whatever, but a clearly defined specific product.
Excellent. These are great tips. So, of course, I'm going to put your contact data in the show notes of this podcast. At the end of this interview, Chris, there's only one thing for me left to say. Chris, thank you very much for your time.
Niels, thank you very much indeed. Thank you for having me back.